Hey YouTube. So the FBI is moving toward the 9mm round now, and it seems like every so often they change calibers and the search of the perfect caliber. So now they decided because of the shot placement and basically the terminal velocity and the capabilities of the 9mm is probably going to be better overall. And it looks like Glock has been awarded the contract, and so Glock's going to modify one of their pre-existing 9mm platforms to to make it qualify for the FBI. So it'll be a few tweaks to my knowledge. I think one of them is going to be taking the grips and the finger grooves on the grips and modify that to be a slick grip. There may be some texture on it, but it won't have the finger grooves at least. And there'll probably be other modifications. We'll find out later, I imagine. So this kind of opens up a conversation, in my opinion, to what is the best carry caliber. This is always a hotly debated subject on different forums, survival forums, gun forums, outdoor forums. Obviously, a rifle and a shotgun is going to be much better for real applications for self-defense. The pistol is just kind of an emergency tool, either to get away from a threat or to fight your way to a rifle, which I think is the best option, or a shotgun if you're of that particular preference. So what we have here is the full range of calibers and handguns to pick from. Is the 9mm that the FBI is saying that the best round? Is that really the best round? Obviously, they're very flip-floppy and they change them up. 1 year's 40 caliber and 10mm, and they were doing the 38 special at one point, I believe. And I mean, it's just all over the place. Their history is. It's almost like you kind of wonder with all their technology and their gun ranges and ballistics and experts. You would think it would be kind of a little bit more. A little easier to refine the answer, but apparently they have a lot of politics, I believe, involved in their decision making. So when you get down to brass tacks, how low can you go in terms of, like the song says, how low can you go? Boom, 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 boom. It's the same thing here. I mean, how small of a caliber can you go and still be effective? Well, no handgun caliber really is 100% effective. You just kind of get what you get with each caliber. Depends on the barrel length and the velocity, the bullet weight, and the penetration capabilities, the bullet type. Is it a modern bullet or is it an older style bullet? It just depends. Everything depends. So there is no quick answer. But if you're talking about standard bullet weights and velocities and stuff, I think that you can get away with a 380 and on up. But in my opinion, though, there's about 90% of the 380s that they don't get that 18 inches of penetration, though, that I think a lot of places like the FBI would kind of recommend that you would get. And so with that being said, though, you would have to search and be a bit discerning on your ammo choice for a 380 ACP. But there are bullets out there, even with very small barrels of 3-inch barrels, that will give you an 18 to 20-inch penetration and expand fully. But most will not. So you have to be careful. But in terms of if you could go with a more standard full-size service cartridge, I would definitely go with 9mm. And I've always been a 9mm buff, especially if I don't conceal carry and if I can open carry, it's always 9mm. There's just no question about it. You get more capacity, as the FBI was pointing out. The ballistics are just fine. Ammunition is much cheaper. It's easier to practice with. You typically have less recoil. And the big one for me, and people, they talk about it, but not as much as you would think, is the wear and tear on your gun is much less than, say, a 40 caliber. Much less. So, and I understand the buffs that like a faster bullet and they like that feeling of a snappier gun. I don't. I can understand those people who like real large diameter bullets, even though it's been proven that the stopping power is not much greater at all, if any, like on a 45 ACP. I can see that it's more of a psychological thing to have big bullets in a gun. It makes you feel like that it's going to be better for you. But the data doesn't say that at all. ER doctors don't say that, oh, the 45 that was substantially more powerful and more devastating to tissue than the 9mm. And in fact, they say it's all comparable to the same. They don't really see any real difference. So what to think about all this? I think in the long run, if you can have a lighter gun, a more inexpensive ammunition choices, and still be effective, if you can have more bullets in the gun, especially when you compare like 45 ACP to like a 9mm, we're talking sometimes 4 or 5 more bullets in a magazine. I mean, seriously, it can be at least that, if not more. So it just depends on the form factor and style of gun, there are 9mm 1911 style guns, as we know, just as they have, of course, in the 45, which is kind of the standard. So, they have all kind of variations. It depends on what you like. And so there is no real answer, just like people ask me all the time, and it's no problem. I enjoy getting the questions, but it's just some people are a little more, emphatic that I give them this blanket answer that's going to solve every problem in terms of what knife should I get, or what gun, or what this and what that. And I don't have all the answers. I mean, I'll be more than happy to kind of point you in a direction of what's worked for me, and that's what the whole channel is about, is helping each other learn. But I honestly just want to put that out there, that I don't have all the answers. I've only tried so many tools. I only have so many resources, but I have, gone through multitudes of tools. As you've already seen in the channel, literally hundreds and hundreds of knives personally owned over my lifetime, and potentially thousands of, knives that I've been able to handle when I used to own an online knife shop. And with that being said, my experience, some things just obviously work better than others. There's a lot of crap out there. And I will be honest with you again and just say probably not even 10% of the stuff out there in terms of knives and guns really classify as a usable, material or usable tool for me personally. I mean, I'm a little bit more picky than I used to be. And I think we all do that the older we get. We just kind of just say, hey, this works and this just doesn't. And you just be honest with yourself and get it over with. Just like I just know that most spider codes work for me. I shouldn't say probably most, but I mean, they're many of them really work well for me, very well. And so it's just like when I see a Spyderco, I know there's a higher probability that I'm going to really like that than, say, a Kershaw knife, which I cannot connect almost with any of them. It just doesn't work. I don't know. Maybe it's the design or element or something, but the Kershaws, I mean, good God. And don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking the zero tolerance line or nothing. I will admit they're very appealing looking and they're very stylish, but I'm not going to be carrying a knife that heavy. I'm not going to put out that much money for a cutting tool that it's just going to be riding and cutting open boxes and stuff. Now, maybe if you're a weekend warrior, or you're actually in the military and you're a real warrior, or you're a police officer and you need a heavy-duty knife, a self-defense knife or a utility cutting knife, maybe that's worth the investment. But honestly, though, with the flipper technology and stuff, and I don't know, the heavy frame locks, it just doesn't work for me. But for a lot of people, it does. So that's why you have to be careful on asking people's opinion, because you may not get your needs met by constantly relying on others. I had a nice gentleman just recently, I think it was last night, sent me a message about, I did a commentary on that recent video on the organizer for everyday carry. And I just want to put that out there, that once I get my system reorganized, I'm in the process of moving some of my gear into a new pocket organizer. And after I try it out for a little while, I gotta make sure everything works great and that it's a functional system. But I'll do a full review on that, and I look forward to doing that. That'll be a fun thing to do. But once again, though, it's kind of interesting that there's people that, and I mean, I'm guilty of this too, that we sometimes rely on other people and their experiences. And that's good, because there's some experiences we just don't want to experience. We don't want to buy something and waste our money and then have buyer's regret. But there's some systems, just like putting together a pocket organizer or picking out a gun caliber, or even the style of gun or brand of gun. It's so personal. Just like picking your knife, it's so personal that I could show you my way, but it is that, and give you ideas, and it really may influence your system, and it may really work for you too. But I mean, ultimately though, I mean, maybe you could just spend a little time and maybe break down the options for yourself personally, because ultimately it's your system. You're going to have to use it, and you may have special needs and uses that I can't foretell or know about or don't know about because I'm not in your life. And maybe the layout that I present to you, for example, like the an everyday pocket carry kit or something, pocket pouch or whatnot. I just maybe I could jack it all up for you. Maybe I just won't give you the right answer. And sometimes you just need to piece it together yourself and carry it for a couple of days, for example, or carry the tool and go, okay, it's not working. Maybe I'll try it in this pocket. Okay, it's not working. Maybe I need to put in a belt pouch, or I'm not. Oh, that's not working. Um, and keep on trying it out. And you may not be able to carry it every day as an EDC item, for example, like a knife, but you may find a place for it in a pack. Maybe it's great for your bug out bag, or maybe it's a redundant kit, or I don't know. But it's one of those kind of things. And that's what people don't realize, is that you kind of have to just try things out until you find one that works. Just like I like the K-Bar dozer, and I'm not trying to insert that name or that model of knife in every video. It seems like I am, and I like the Spydercos too. Don't get me wrong. I just really like the military, flat colors and stuff that the K-Bar dozer has. You know, those earth tones. I wish that more companies would do that. And I know that all companies are not trying to cater toward maybe military or those types of groups, but you'd be surprised that a lot of the earth tones are more popular than people imagine, and then there's a lot of choices out there. And don't get me wrong, but I just kind of wish that even like Spyderco, that they have all these colors for like the Delica, for example. But the colors are really kind of a little bit odd. I mean, the blue's a little bit blue. It's kind of a brighter. I don't know. It's the colors are just kind of unique, but at the same time, I don't want a purple Delica, and the blue is not. I'd rather have a navy or darker blue. It's just too bright of a blue. There's all kind of problems, but when you have all these colors, you don't even want to get the black anymore, because you're like, oh, it's just a black handle. So you kind of feel compelled to get a color, because color is usually better, in my opinion, or just more fun. But for example, I try, and I have, of course, the gray Delica, and it's okay, I probably prefer to even have a darker gray, but the brown looks okay. But it almost looks like it's just kind of like a mixed brown. I don't know how you would say that. It's like it's just not the brown that I like. Maybe it's just too light as well. Anyways, the whole thing is I just maybe standardize some colors, and that's kind of the thing about the K-Bar dozers. Even though they have various colors, the newest, I believe, is in this, it's a brighter blue. I kind of considered maybe getting it, but I kind of stopped at the very end and said, no, it's just not the right blue for me. But in terms of like the olive drab and the coyote brown, that's cool, and you don't have to have a lot of different colors. I'm sorry, it's not olive drab. I believe they did that as a test, and they didn't make that one. It was actually the foliage green. Now, the foliage green is excellent on that knife. And so, that's the thing that even the colors on your pistol or and all this stuff, even though this is a video about, cartridges on your pistol and, what cartridge is the best, we have to consider all these other options too. And I'm just trying to just get a big picture here for you that things are not so easy, like picking a gun cartridge. We can say all we want all day long that the ballistics are efficient and they're acceptable for a 9mm. But if you're dead set on a 40 or 45, it kind of doesn't really matter what I say. Just like if I say all day long and do 35 videos, for example, on, let's just say, my love for the Spyderco Endura. I mean, it doesn't matter to some people. Some people might just say it's just too big of a knife. It's crappy. I don't like the blade profile and blah, blah, blah. It costs too much and doesn't come in the color I want or whatever. So there is a point, though, that we have to just say, okay, let's just figure out what works for us and use all the data points that people have and their experiences, which are all valid. But at the end of the day, we have to just say, okay, what works for us, and go there. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll have a video coming up real soon.